I'm Brooke Berman, and I'm the writer of Hunting and Gathering and The Liddy Plays.
Well, we're moving on up.
Hunting and Gathering. How would you summarize it?
I think it's about a group of New Yorkers who, for whatever reason, are experiencing themselves as transient and are connecting with each other and themselves in an attempt to find home, both in the world and in each other. I think there's a really interesting piece in that play about the ability to let go of the past and the ability to move physically forward into a new set of circumstances. And then there's that great Bess character, right, who just has no
She seems like she just has
self-doubt.
it all together. But do you think that she does, or do you think she's searching for something as well?
I think that she's 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so I think that, I don't know about you guys, but when I was 20 years old, I had a lot of answers too. And, you know, I also think she's a very the things she wants in life are really straightforward. She says it in the monologue. She wants to, like, take some nice trips.
Yeah.
She wants to move in with her boyfriend. She wants to get out of Brooklyn. She wants to take a couple of nice trips every year. She's not looking for anything. You know, Ruth is looking for all of these qualities.
Yeah.
Like justice. And, you know, reconciliation.
Yeah.
Global healing, whatever. That's complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's really interesting about that Bess character and who she becomes.
You said that your creative process, it starts with sort of collage-based impulses. So how do you then turn those ideas into one arc and one storyline?
Well, this is a collage-based impulse. I mean, I keep track of things that interest me in these books. So I keep, like, pieces of text, images, and notes for stories. This is an image of a character in one of my plays.
Oh my God, that's really cool. Wow.
Just, like, things that interest me.
Literally anything inspires you to it.
Yeah, I mean, the ticket from a friend's show to, like, a piece of an essay to, like, a piece that I think might be part of a play to, like, costume images to, I don't know, this article about Pinter. Like,
Yeah.
I like that hand-holding thing right there. This is a TV pitch I just took out. And really, like, part of it is sort of, part of it is gestational. It's like letting the ideas just breathe. So taking all these disparate impulses, putting them in a book, and then chilling out and letting the subconscious do its thing. And then I start to comb through them with a highlighter, and I highlight things that jump out at me, and then I try through writing, riffing off of each of those images and ideas, and then seeing what I can possibly marry together. And so some of the plays, Hunting and Gathering, came about that way. I was teaching this exercise in the New York City public schools where I would have my students say that something that they were an expert in, and then create a character who is an expert in that thing. And the theory was that people are really sexy when they're doing stuff they're good at. And as playwrights, maybe we should think about that too, and, like, let our characters have some stuff they're really good at. So as an example, I would say I'm really good at packing up my shit and moving to a new apartment because I've had to do it a lot. And I would list all these apartments I'd lived in. And then I thought, oh, that would be a great place to start a character. And so I had that, and then I had this crazy dream where I was at the airport, and Tony Kushner and I were going through a conveyor belt.
Funny.
We were like, you know, in airport security, we were getting x-rayed, and that felt like it was part of it maybe. And then I wrote the last scene between Ruth and Jesse, which I knew was part of it. And then I knew there was this crazy mover that was part of it. And then I just wrote about all those things for a really, really long time. And there's stuff that, like, used to be in the play that got taken out. Aster and the Mover used to be two separate characters, and then I merged them into one. So, and that was a long process.
Can you talk about Hunting and Gathering, how it started as a 10-minute play,
Yeah.
and then its development before it was produced by Primary Stages?
So the summer of 2001, I was living in this beautiful loft in Soho, and I'm still a part of the MCC Playwrights Unit, Playwrights Lab, MCC Playwrights Unit. I've been a part of it since the inception, and I was very, very involved with it when I lived in New York, and loved them. And they gave us all the assignment to write a 10-minute play about home. And I had always wanted to do, because I'd lived in so many places and I liked telling stories about all those places, I had always wanted to do like a kind of crazy walking tour of all the apartments I'd lived in, and like as a performance art piece. I'd never gotten around to doing it, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna list them all. And so I wrote this play where a character lists all these apartments and tells stories about them. And it's also in the context of having a crush on this guy at work, and so she's trying to connect sort of her personal transience to like dealing with other people in the workplace. And it was really fun to do. I think my friend Yvonne performed it for MCC. They did like a thing when I was at the O'Neill. I didn't see it, and I heard it went really well. So after September 11th, I lost my job because I was a freelancer in Tribeca, and I was working at Paper Magazine, and they lost all their advertisers because the neighborhood was shut down, and then they had a big financial crunch, and they got rid of pretty much anybody they could replace with an intern. And so I lost my job, but I couldn't get unemployment because I was freelance and I was part-time. I was like freelance 25 hours a week. And then I had to leave my apartment. I didn't have any money and everywhere to go. It was really terrible. And I went up and I was staying at my friend Michael Garces's apartment. And it was just miserable. I'm not sure why we got on that exactly. Yeah, there was some crash and burn, and that whole thing was like a couple of months. I mean, it wound up fine. I got a job. I got another job through MCC. I was teaching and I was making money, and I could save money while I was at Michael's, and I took this sublet in Queens, which is in the play. And then I went to the O'Neill for a month, and then I had a gig at Steppenwolf. I went to Chicago for a couple of weeks. Then I took this sublet that was my yoga teacher's ex-boyfriend's place near Tompkins Square, but it was like on my favorite block in all of Manhattan, so it felt really kind of great. And then I moved into with Michael Chernus in the East Village, and that's when I started writing the whole play. And that was when I told you, I said like, oh, I've been teaching this exercise, and I'm going to try and write about these experiences and sort of this transience. And it was before the housing crisis, and I kept saying to people, I think these experiences I'm having are really going to be I think more and more people are going to have this experience. I think this is really contemporary and really relevant. It was amazing when we produced the play at Primary. People who were under 30 saw themselves in the play, and people who were over 40 did not. They had, gotten out of college, gotten married, gotten an apartment, stayed on the same career track, and really been in one place for their entire adult life. And they saw the transience as a failing of the characters. Like, why are these people so unmoored? And it's going to be so interesting when you guys do the play, because now people can't really do what they used to do. The economy's not supporting it. College graduates are moving back in with their parents. People are having to downsize. People are having to take roommates or move into group houses, or there's I think a lot more of an understanding that it's not your fault if you don't have your place yet. Like the world is really changing.
But actually,
so anyway, to answer your question, there was a lot of workshopping in between this point and this point.
On page 36 in your memoir, you write, the experience of a solid home...
Oh my God, you have page numbers.
I was just going to say, you remember.
Yeah, you remember. The experience of a solid home will indeed contribute to my ability to create a base in the world, to write and produce and perform, to invest in a community, make friends, and spread out. So can you talk a bit about the connection between community or home and the capacity for you to create, and do you think that they're mutually exclusive?
I think that we have different temperaments, right? I think some people are really comfortable living on the fly and can be super creative when they're sleeping on someone's couch. I am generally not one of those people. I generally find those periods of transience really unsettling, and it's hard to write when I'm like, there's that idea of Maslow's triangle of human needs, or the hierarchy of human needs. Do you guys know about that from psychology? So the idea is that you have to meet basic needs before you can meet abstract needs. Basically, it's all about food and clothing and comfort and safety before you can do anything that's really advanced.
Yeah.
You know, so I found that to be true for me, that sort of taking care of the baseline helps me do the more complicated things, and I think that's true of most people.
Yeah.
Although I did have friends in my 20s who were able to get a whole lot of things done on a creative level without having some of those pieces in place. But I also think we carry a piece of our childhood home with us, so maybe it's true that those people just had really stable homes growing up, and so you know, the idea is that if you, the kind of home that you have as a child, you sort of internalize.
I think what you said, it doesn't matter if you're married or how old you are. I think everyone's still searching for something.
I do
you know?
too, and I think that's good.
I think so too.
I think it's
Wouldn't it be boring
healthy.
if you weren't?
Because what if you could recreate elements of your life or your sort of contract with your life whenever the need arises? I mean, within reason. Like, I'm not going to come home tomorrow and go, you know what, I don't think I want to be a mother anymore. Like, I'm kind of over that mother phase. Like, I'm going to go, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
but that's also good.
What advice would you give to Crashbox as young artists and as a budding theater company?
Oh, wow. Do the work you love. Do the work you love, especially now, because you can. Because there's no one telling you not to. Because you can find ways to do it for nothing. Do the work you love. Just keep doing the work you love and see where it leads you. And don't let anybody tell you no. When someone says no, they're talking about their own limitation, not yours.